Hello. Welcome to the e-NABLE Town Hall meeting for May 6, 2016. I'm Justine Diamond, your host for this week's meeting. Town Hall is a weekly meeting held as a Google Hangout on air. At Town Hall, team leads, community members, and foundation members are able to update the community on projects they've been working on during the week and on what's coming up. Please feel free to ask questions of any of our speakers. The easiest way to do that is through the Q&A feature that's built into Hangouts. You'll find the Q&A at the upper right-hand corner of your screen. Just click on the grid of 9 boxes. If you're watching on certain devices, such as an iPad or some phones, you'll find you can't access the Q&A. But questions can also be posted in the post for the event. If you have any questions about any of the links we talk about, all of those will be included in the agenda and minutes, which will be available shortly after we're done with the Hangout. I include that link on the video post, so it should be pretty easy to find. So for those of you new to this, Town Hall is about the e-NABLE community. I read through the community and attend different virtual Hangouts, and that's where I often find out that members of the community who are doing some really cool things. Sometimes I find out about it from newspaper articles or from Facebook posts, but the best source, of course, is the community itself. And it was in that way that I found out that Scott Darrow, who's a volunteer who's been very helpful in gathering tutorials and providing support on in the community, got a STEM award from his school, in part for the work he's done from e-NABLE. And he wrote, "I'm not trying to boast, but they did mention e-NABLE and the recipient I was paired with. And while I didn't design the hand, and everyone tends to put that part in there, I did customize the hand for just what the recipient wanted." So congratulations to Scott. I also saw that the fabulous little Red Hat film about the community that John Schul and the RIT Magic Lab people were in just brought home the trophy for Best Documentary at the Westchester Film Festival. So congratulations to them. If there's something you'd like to share with the community at an upcoming town hall, or if there's someone you think we should spotlight, please let me know. If there's something you'd like to see covered that we've not done much with, let me know that too. You can email me at events.enable@gmail.com. As always, you can find the calendar on the Foundation website. The calendar lists public events, chapter activities, and presentations. And you'll even find virtual events like the R&D Hangout and these town halls on that calendar. If you submit events to me, I will make sure they get listed on the calendar. There are lots of events coming up. Maker Faire season is getting into full swing. There was just a big one in Paris that just ended, and thanks to Thierry Akidun for representing us there. And the big Bay Area Maker Faire is just around the corner. That's being headed up by John Wong. If you're in the Bay Area and want to help out or just stop by, feel free to send John an email at gotwong@gmail.com. If you're interested in representing e-NABLE at an event or a Maker Faire and would like some assistance in getting that organized, that's another reason to get in touch. Before I get into some of the other things we've got, I'm going to introduce one of our education guests because he's under a bit of a time crunch. So that is Robert Payne. He has been working with e-NABLE projects in the education sector over a great range of ages. And as well, he's very involved in FIRST Robotics, which is how he gets his students into the e-NABLE projects. And they just had some great experiences with FIRST. And I'm not going to steal any of his thunder. I am just going to pass this over to him for his update. Hi, Bob.
Oh, thank you very much. Hello, everybody. Just wanted to start with just a brief introduction. As was mentioned, I am a FIRST robotics coach. My wife and I have been coaching high school age kids in FIRST robotics for about the past 8 years. I'm also an engineering manager here in Utica, New York, and an adjunct instructor at SUNY Polytechnic Institute, also here in Utica, New York. We started out meeting e-NABLE back at the National Maker Faire down in Washington, D.C. And we thought that it would be a perfect fit for FIRST teams to get involved with e-NABLE. And I'll just explain a little bit about the folks, just the background on FIRST. FIRST is a robotics challenge. It's a not-for-profit out in New Hampshire. And they have approximately 250,000 students all over the world. I think right now it's maybe 37 countries. The ages from 8 years old, I think actually 6 years old, all the way up through 12th grade in high school. So they have a wide range of students, they're covering the whole aspect. And they encourage their students that graduate out of FIRST to get involved and volunteer mentoring teams as they move forward through their college career. So we met e-NABLE down in Washington, and again, it seemed like a perfect fit because FIRST is founded by Dean Kamen. And Dean Kamen is known in the industries, one of his companies is DECA. They invent and help in biomedical for individuals that may have disabilities with hand functions and what have you. So ended up being a perfect fit. But going through the process of becoming a builder, we felt, my wife and I, the coaches, felt that this would be difficult for teams, for other teams throughout the country or throughout the world to go through that process and still be able to work on their robot and get ready for their competitions. So we thought it'd be a great idea to offer the teams the ability to print the parts of a prosthetic hand, send them to us, and then through my courses and classes that I teach up at SUNY Polytechnic, we would have the students then go through the assembly process and look for ways to improve that process, to document it, and provide information that could be useful through other chapters and individuals that will be printing these prosthetic hands. So John and I were speaking about this, and he was pretty enthused the fact that the number of students involved in FIRST would really have a huge impact with e-NABLE if we were able to get FIRST and e-NABLE together to work on a collaborative project. Several weeks ago, he contacted me and said that he has a meeting with Dean Kamen. And I told him that we would be out in St. Louis at the World Championship. It would be perfect timing. Let's schedule that meeting and let's make it happen. Especially if you get a dialogue with Dean Kamen, who knows what would happen. So we met out there last week, had an hour-long meeting with Dean. Dean said, you know, you're like preaching to the choir. This is a fabulous opportunity. And he was really serious about somehow getting FIRST involved. He contacted, right in our meeting, he brought in his VP of Strategic Initiatives, and we sat with him. John sat with him for some time after that, but the dialogue was all positive. It was how we now can integrate e-NABLE into the FIRST community. I brought with me 3 prosthetic hands. This is the exciting part. 3 prosthetic hands, brought a Unlimited, brought a Phoenix and a Raptor, a K1, and Dean Kamen asked if he could keep them. So we know there's interest when Dean takes them, and throughout the entire meeting he was playing with one of the hands. So we saw that there's some genuine interest in getting involved. So again, that meeting went for about an hour, and then we met again with Mark after hours. And then I had to go back to coaching my team. So John spent, like I say, a good couple hours with the FIRST folks, and waiting to hear from him to see what the next step is. Not sure, Melina or Grace, or Justine, if you have any questions you might want to throw at me right now that I might be able to answer.
I don't. I think that sounds really exciting. You know what?
Yeah,
While I'm asking you questions, I'm just going to mute you, and then when you answer, unmute them.
So I'll just add another thing here. One of the things about FIRST in the FIRST community, it's not just about building robots, whether they're Lego robots or FIRST Tech Challenge robots, which are a little bit bigger, or the large FRC robots. It's not about that. Every age group is encouraged to give back to the community, to volunteer, and the e-NABLE project is a perfect fit because a lot of these teams now do have 3D printers or have access to them, and being able to print a handout, send it to us at SUNY Polytechnic where we assemble it, and then send them pictures of their completed hands is just very rewarding for these kids, whatever age group they're at.
Wow, it's pretty amazing. I'm looking forward to hearing what happens here.
Yeah, as we move forward with FIRST, and we move forward with e-NABLE, especially up at SUNY Polytechnic, the ability to have a program where the FIRST community can get involved in at whatever level they want. We had one FIRST team said, "Yeah, we'll send you the parts," and I never received the parts. So I saw them out at the World Championship, and they said, "Well, we found a child in our community that was in need, so we produced a hand for them." And I guess beautiful. It's a perfect fit. Couldn't ask for a better answer.
I'm just going to mute you a second so that I can read these comments. We got a couple of comments from Peter Graven, who says that he agrees that FIRST is a lot more than just robots and that this is great news. Locally, our FTC 6914 FTC 8823 has been bringing our work with the e-NABLE community to all of our competitions in Wisconsin. So Peter's been doing some great work both with FIRST and with e-NABLE in his classroom. And I think there's a couple of other people I know as well who are involved in bringing FIRST in. It seems like really like a perfect partnership. Did you have anything else, Bob? Because if not, I'll move on. Unless we get some more questions, you can hang out here as long as you can until you have to leave.
Yes, just there's another comment here and we see that there is a FIRST team on board here. Peter, we are the Robo Spartans, team 4082. You can find us on, we have a website, you can find us on Facebook. Anyone that has any questions or wants to get involved that already is in the FIRST community can easily contact us there, and we would be happy to point them in the right direction and share our experiences with them also.
I'll send out an email later today and I'll hook you, Bob, up with Peter so that you guys can talk. Because I think you probably have a lot to talk about.
Very good. Thank you for allowing me to speak today.
Oh, we're happy to have you. Thank you very much. Okay. Hopefully Bob will stick around with us as long as he can. I know he has another meeting. And if anybody has any other questions, about FIRST, feel free to post it. If he's not here to answer it, we'll try and get answers for you. So moving on, I would like to take a moment to just talk about the 2 design challenges that are currently running with the foundation. The foundation in April partnered with GrabCAD to challenge designers to come up with a terminal device that's compatible with the International Red Cross prosthetic socket. The deadline for that challenge is May 15th, and we've already got 18 entries, some of which I think are extremely interesting. GrabCAD encourages conversation and commenting about the entries, so I encourage anyone interested in design to head on over there. I'll put in a link in the agenda minutes and check out the designs. If you join the GrabCAD community, you'll be able to participate in those conversations about the design, so I encourage you to do just that. As well, there's a great panel of experts, both from GrabCAD, from the foundation, and from the O&P world who will be doing the judging on this. So I think it should be fascinating to follow. We've extended the deadline on the sport-specific terminal device challenge that we're running by the foundation, primarily because we've had some summer programs who are interested in having their students use the challenge as a project over the summer. So if you've got an idea for a sport-specific terminal device, please submit that design. You've got now until the end of July to get that done. Last week was the Carnegie Mellon University of Pittsburgh Summit, and not next week, but the week after, we're going to be hearing from Dr. Jen Mankoff, who was the organizer on the Carnegie Mellon side. And I believe we'll also have some resources from that event, which will be posted in the community. So on to education. We've heard from Bob, but Rich Lehrer can't be with us today due to some commitments at school. He is currently teaching 400 grandparents how to do 3D design and printing in what must be one of the most amazing Grandparents' Day event ever. There's been a couple of articles about the work that Rich has done with building education programs, one from the Buck Institute and one from Desktop Engineering, that have been posted in the community that I'd encourage you to check out. In addition, Rich's school, the Brookwood, did a piece about tech education in their school, which included a little bit about e-NABLE. In addition, Rich, his son Max, and the senior digital producer for WGBH for Design Squad, Melissa Carlson, are going to be speaking about e-NABLE at a Google event in the next 2 weeks. So we're looking forward to hearing about that. I don't see any other questions that have come in. So at this point, I'm going to pass this over to Andreas, if you're ready. It's good? Okay. I'm going to mute me and you unmute you.
Great. All right. Well, I just wanted to, continue the flow of accolades for Rich Schlarer. Had the pleasure of finally meeting him when I was in Boston about exactly 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I think 2 weeks ago for the giving a keynote at DigiFabCon, a little conference put on by the Fab Foundation. So I had the pleasure of finally connecting and chatting with Rich. He's up to some really amazing things and thinking some big thoughts about the role of 3D printers and design in education. Also had the pleasure to connect with the UMass Lowell chapter of e-NABLE and also met Joe Fairley there. So really fantastic group of people operating in the Boston sphere. Let's see. I wanted to touch on a couple of things. The first one was some folks in the community had some questions about the e-NABLE Community Foundation's annual report, which is basically just a summary of what the foundation has been up to in the year of 2015. Annual reports are something that all 501c3 nonprofits produce in the interest of kind of financial and operational transparency. So I definitely encourage everybody to take a look at the annual report. It's available on the ECF's website, and I can put a link in the agenda and notes afterwards. So folks had some pretty reasonable questions about a lot of where the funding is going, what kind of programs it's being applied to. Specifically, a couple of folks cited is about $93,000 of non-cash donations. So a lot of people were wondering, is this filament? Is this machines? What is this? That is a classification of donations of in-kind donations. So that's things like, if we were to add up all the people volunteering for the e-NABLE Community Foundation, if we were to assign an hourly rate that they would have charged for the work that they do were they actually employed, if we were to assign that an hourly wage and then add up all of the hours that they put in, and then we also factor in the rates that we would have been charged for, say, things like the pro bono legal services, a lot of the work that's been donated for various workshops that we've done, work on the website, or for instance, I hosted the Spring Design Summit here at Autodesk, and so I was able to make a room for 16 people to sit in and yammer all day, and were we to do that without kind of getting that space donated, we would have had to pay a lot of money for it. So that $90,000 figure reflects all of the donated time and services that the e-NABLE Community Foundation has received in 2015. I think somebody else, asked about the travel budget, which was I think around $40,000. The vast majority of that for 2015 is just flying John places. So John spends a huge amount of time on the road. For anybody who regularly, I don't know if you check to see like when and where John is posting to the community, but it's generally not from his home. So John has spent a lot of time on the road in the past year, just kind of spreading the the mission and the vision, and just the idea of e-NABLE, and it's kind of interesting to actually take a look at the resources that are necessary to do that. But apparently it's about $40,000. So we scheduled a kind of a longer Q&A session just to kind of talk over more of what the foundation is up to, and talk more about how it can better support the community. There is a link in the agenda for both the doodle poll for selecting a time if you'd like to participate. This will be a hangout on air with some more of the foundation staff. And for those who don't know, I'm also on the board of directors of the foundation. And anybody who would like to kind of participate in a discussion Q&A. Additionally, just to kind of guide that discussion or kind of provide an agenda for that Q&A session, there's also a Google Doc where you can jot down any questions or things that you'd like to discuss during that hangout. So really looking forward to that. That's scheduled for the weekend of the 21st and 22nd. So we'll set aside probably an hour-long period there to have the discussion, and then really looking forward to just sharing out the results of that. So with that, I also wanted to touch on the code of conduct in the community. Just this past week, there have been a couple of posts and comments that have come close to or have crossed the line of the code of conduct. So I encourage everybody to review that. And just to, I posted a short piece the day before yesterday, or maybe it was yesterday, about just some of the ways to potentially think about the code of conduct and weigh things. Does this cross the code? And I'd like to just share one of the tools that I use a lot for just kind of navigating decisions in e-NABLE and the work that I do in e-NABLE. And that's just a simple little question that I ask myself, which is, considering some action or some choice, I always ask, does this help the kids? Like, does this choice, which different direction here is going to have the biggest impact for the end users? And so I think that it's really important to kind of have that question in mind, particularly when we're discussing choices for strategies. We have a lot of things to figure out in e-NABLE, and in terms of we have a lot of really big operations, logistics, and design challenges to work through. This morning I posted a talk I gave actually internally at Autodesk about some of those challenges. I'd encourage folks to take a look at those to kind of get a better sense of what I mean by we have some huge challenges to work through. But I think that what's really important is to just really maintain an objective and kind of issue and goal focused tone in discussing these big questions about how do we best match recipients with fabricators? How do we best ensure that designs are safe? So I just want to remind folks that divisive tones and personal attacks, hurting each other's feelings, while that might address kind of the immediate emotional needs of the discussion, that doesn't help the kids. That's not helping us move forward in addressing the really big problems that we as a huge distributed group of people trying to make the world a better place need to solve. So just wanted to encourage people to kind of use that guiding question when navigating these big, complicated questions, and again to just encourage civil discourse as we try to figure these things out. There's a reason, as you'll see in my talk, there's a reason that nobody's done this before. It's because it's extremely difficult and complicated. So I think that's all for me. So I encourage people to both just take a quick read over my post in the community about code of conduct. And again, to post any questions they have about the annual report or kind of broader ECF operations in the Google Doc. And if you'd like to participate in the broader kind of ECF community Q&A, which will be later in May, please fill out the doodle. And I think I think that is all I have. Are there any questions coming in from anybody watching?
Aside from Peter Larson saying that it was good to meet you too, we don't have any questions. What I will do is in the agenda minutes, I will put a link to Andreas's post about the code of conduct, Andreas's post about the doodle poll and the scheduling for that, which includes a link to the document where you can ask questions, and the video the Autodesk talk, because before I started town hall today, I started listening to that, so I'm halfway through it, and I'm enjoying it quite a bit. It's really good, and I would encourage everyone to take a listen. So I will put that. Peter's just asked where the doodle poll can be found. I'll put a link both on the broadcast and in the minutes, so it's pretty easy to find, and I'll do that a little bit after we finish up here.
Alrighty. Thanks.
All right, thank you. I don't see any other questions. We are still a little early. I don't know, Melina and Grace, if you have anything you'd like to add. I will say that we announced the recipients of the e-NABLE Community Foundation internship program. I talked about that last town hall. We'll be putting up some more information. What's exciting about the internships this year will be that we're going to make a great effort to make sure that everyone in the community can take part in watching the process of how the work is progressing. So while last year we brought everybody in to talk about their projects, after they were done at the end of the summer, I'm going to try and bring the students in periodically into town hall, and as well we're going to be holding a hangout just for them so that they can talk about what they're doing, and we'll make that available so that you can kind of get a peek behind the curtain at what's going on. And I'm hoping that they'll be, and I will encourage them to share not only their triumphs as things go well, but also the challenges of things that are a little harder. So other than that, I think we are going to be able to wrap up a little early today. I'm just going to see, I don't see any other questions. I don't see anything else. So until then, again, I'll put all of these links to make them all available to people. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to reach out to me or to reach out to Andreas. Until then, happy printing, everybody. Bye-bye.